Hi, it's Amanda Hinman from the Hinman Holistic Health Institute. And today I'm sharing some quick strategies to consider to support your sleep habits so that you can wake up with more restful, restorative, energized vitality each and every day. And for many of us women in our 40s and our 50s, the number one complaint is exhaustion. In fact, do you find yourself feeling like you're tossing and turning all night and you can't get your mind to shut down? Or perhaps you wake up at 2:14 in the morning in a puddle of sweat because you just had another hot flash, right? These things are very common and they absolutely interrupt the quality of our restorative sleep and hence our energy levels. So today we want to be talking about what exactly is happening when we have elevated levels of stress hormones, cortisol and epinephrine. This absolutely impacts the area of the brain called the hippocampus. And when the hippocampus is responsible for our sense of self. So when we have a kind of a diminished sense of self, it's not surprising that we have experience with more anxiety, more sense of overwhelm, lack of confidence, lack of clarity and focus. Really, this is what we feel so often as women. And we're struggling with that sense of just feeling grounded, feeling clear, feeling confident, and energized as our best selves. So we want to be focusing on what can we do to help support that restorative sleep so that we can reduce the amount of hormones and our stress levels overall and truly feel like a completely different experience. One of the tools is to utilize first and foremost the benefits of progesterone. Progesterone is a calming hormone in the body, especially in the brain. It interacts with our GABA receptors. And in particular, oral progesterone can be especially useful for sleep enhancing benefits. And this is because oral progesterone goes through the digestive system, passes through the liver, and is converted into a substance called pregnenolone, which has those sleep enhancing mood benefits. Versus topical progesterone doesn't have the same effect of converting to pregnenolone in the liver. So that's one tool that can be helpful for many women. Another thing to keep in mind is reducing your consumption of caffeine, because caffeine in particular is a stimulant. It raises our levels of cortisol and stress hormone. It also can suppress the conversion of melatonin. And melatonin is a neurotransmitter that helps us to fall asleep and stay asleep peacefully. So limiting that or really being mindful of the amount of caffeine, especially the caffeine consumed over the course of your lifetime, that can have effect again on that size of the hippocampus and our sense of self. The third strategy or the third tool I want to share with you today is the importance of having magnesium and eating magnesium rich foods and or supplementation, because magnesium is another mineral that's found and it's necessary for over 300 different enzyme reactions in our body. It also has a calming effect on the brain and the body. And magnesium is found in the chlorophyll center areas of what gives it vegetables that are green color. So think of like dark leafy greens and dark green vegetables. They are rich in magnesium. And unfortunately, during periods of stress, we tend to like cleanse out magnesium at a really high rate. So even if we're consuming some of it, but we're under a high amount of stress, or we're chronically not getting enough sleep, that's going to mean our need for magnesium is higher than anticipated. The fourth thing to consider is L-Theanine. And L-Theanine is an amino acid that interacts with, again, three of the calming neurotransmitters, GABA, serotonin, and dopamine, and can have a really supportive, calming effect on the body. So sometimes you can find teas and different things that contain L-Theanine to help support that. And then finally, I think one of the great tools is to remember to limit screen time, especially in the 40 to 60 minute window of time before going to bed, because all the blue light from screens really signal to the brain that it's like full spectrum light. This is, time to be awake, time to be all circuits wiring and firing, instead of having, exposure to more of that neutral red tones and that calming sense of like things are winding down, things are slowing down. So this means things like your phones, your computers, your TV screens, just stepping away and choosing a different activity before bed can really be a supportive, calming type of dynamic as well. And we know that if you're struggling with different hormone imbalances with cortisol levels and with estrogen and testosterone or lack of progesterone, perhaps because things are winding down during that perimenopausal years. And this absolutely is something that it's important to know where your body is and what most specifically is going to help you to get that restorative sleep so that you no longer struggle in that vicious cycle. As always, you can feel free to download our free hormone health kit and take a hormone assessment to kind of determine where your body is right now and what's going to be most useful for you to focus on first. And wishing you a great restful sleep.